There are smaller things that slide away in times of war and change, things that no one seems to notice until they are long gone. Balmora's docks and riverways were once all but choked with industry and trade when I was a child. My brothers would take me to the bridges and the water's edge to watch the colorful trader junks and the sotakas, which were small riverboats with dwellings and traders' stalls inside. Sotakas were my favorite, noisy with their wheel-shaped paddles churning the water, windlass ships driven by steam from water vessels heated by the fire in their drivers' hands, bedecked in colorful lanterns. Sometimes there would be water shalk riders. I remember well being lifted and hoisted down onto the swimming beetle's back, holding tightly to the rider's leg so I would not fall off, screaming in childish glee as we skated across the water. All of these were gone by the time I was 30. The ash and increased demand for housing choked away much of the good farmland, and what was left fell more and more often to outlander settlements or was raised in skirmishes. The water shalks were most often eaten by their riders, who turned their hands to tending Vivek's many gondolas if they could, once the clutches of wild water shalk disappeared. Whether they too had been hunted to nothing, or whether they had fallen to some plague or pollution of the waters, no one can say for certain. With trade forcibly opened through the newly imperialized Ebonheart, its graceful sweeps and ancient crumbling edges now carved into the Empire's favored geometry, the trader junks with their bright-bannered sails became rarer and rarer along the Odai. With the Empire's trade sanctions, most shipments were forced through Ebonheart's ports to line trade companies' coffers, leaving little behind for local merchants. The coin for a bolt of Nisus cloth rose so sharply that it was all but impossible to afford in Balmora, while cheap cotton and heavy wool flooded in to take its place. The insects ate holes in it all, and the wool was too hot for anyone to wear. Bandits and pirates took to attacking the remaining junks, easy to spot as they were, and before long the association with banditry was too strong for any to risk approaching them for barter. And with so many displaced and hungry, the numbers of bandits swelled by the week. The trader junks were light and fast, ideal for piracy. Sotakas, by comparison, were slow and loud. Imperial prejudice against wandering residences had honest tradesmen plucked from their floating homes and arrested for vagrancy, despite the protestations of the local native-born. Driven thus from imperialized settlements, their traditional trade routes rendered far longer and more treacherous, they could not hope to evade the river bandits. Drawn by the promise of goods, they fell upon the floating houses and picked them clean. Wrecked sotakas were a common sight along the smaller rivers and tributaries for a time, teeming with vermin of the watersides, their wheels broken up for kindling and their steamworks melted down for weaponry, until all that was left were the frames, bristling by the waterside like fish bones. House Hlalu, of course, raised only the most token of forces to protect these watercrafts, soon giving up entirely. The Odai was all but bereft of trade, but what does that matter to cunning Hlalu Siduras, who had long made their own trade agreements with the Empire? Indeed, Hlalu prospered well, despite the emptiness of Balmora's docks. It is not coincidence that most of the trader junks and sotakas had been manned by independent tradesmen, beholden to no house. Hlalu merchants grew fat and rich, Ebonheart swelled with imperial industry, and many mer in Balmora were content with the influx of septim wealth. Even as the slums widened across the river,